And we're back. Another episode of the Consistency Engine podcast. I'm your host, Dane Patton, and with me always, Chase Collier. Chase, how we doing today?
Doing good. Been a busy but productive short week so far.
That's right. Well, so we're recording this the week of, we had Memorial Day.
Yes.
So what, kind of give me a little overview on what you did. You know, I know you're a busy individual. You wear many hats, many businesses, all that stuff going on. What did you do with your Memorial Day weekend?
Yeah, so it was probably very uneventful compared to normal. Saturday, my wife and I went up to the good old Nebraska Furniture Mart and picked out a new mattress. We've had new bedroom furniture delivered the last week and a half that I've been putting together in the evenings. So it's been fun. Saw some friends. My family, my parents actually went to Arizona for 3 weeks. Dad retired about a month ago.
Awesome.
Kind of informal retirement, but decided to go on a road trip. So Kat and I hung out, walked the dogs, did a lot of furniture building and cleaning around the house.
Nice. Yeah. Memorial Day, I feel like it's a good time for reflection. The reason for Memorial Day, to honor those that sacrificed for the freedoms that we have today and for, the comforts that we enjoy every single day. That's one of the privileges that we have to live in this, great country that we do. And, I think it's kind of the unofficial start to summer, too.
Yes.
Memorial Day. So it's like,
Yes.
It's usually warm here.
School's out, pool's open.
Yeah, the pool's open. Like the local pool's opened here on Monday on Memorial Day. But, I always tried to do something, like, especially on those weekends where we're taking that day off. Years ago when I was first started my business, I never took Memorial Day off. In my business, this week is like the last week before baby season really comes for bats.
Yep.
So I was always really busy on that day. So I never really took the day off or took the time off because I was always trying to take care of as many people as I possibly could. Now that we've grown the business and we're a little bit bigger and we're more efficient and we can get things done in a better rate than it was when it was just me. Now I get the day off. My whole team gets the day off, and we really get to just focus on like the pillars that we talk about so much. I know that you were at the gym.
Yes.
You went to the gym. I went to the gym too. I love going on those holidays that the gym's actually open, because sometimes the gym's closed on those days.
And not many people normally show up.
Yeah, it's usually. But today or on Monday when I went to the gym, I saw a couple of people I hadn't seen in a while, which was exciting. They had the day off, or it was just I was going at a different time than I normally do, and seeing some new faces at the gym or some old faces at the gym that I hadn't seen in a while. That's always fun. So I'm always focused on fitness for sure, doing something to move my body. Got some good deadlifts in that day. I'm sorry you missed out. And then spent time with family. We get this extra time. We weren't focused on the business, so I was spending time with family. Harvey and I went on I think it was I think that day we went on an over 10-mile bike ride.
Wow. Earlier
on the Saturday, we did about a 15, 18-mile bike ride that day too. So, really getting the fitness stuff in, spending time with the family, did a little cookout, just, really fun stuff. And reflecting back on, how it is we got to where we are. And I started thinking to myself, like, how grateful I am for making this transformation that we've talked about multiple times before, because if I wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't have been able to go on these long bike rides with my son. If he went on a bike ride, Dad wouldn't have went because he wasn't physically able to do that. So grateful that I had the chance to go do that with him. And understanding that nobody else was going to make those changes for me, and nobody else was going to come and save me for me to be able to spend that time and be focused on that stuff. And I think that's kind of the idea that I want to talk about today is this, nobody's coming to save any of us.
Yeah.
Nobody's here to do the work for you. So how do we become the person that wants to do it?
And one of the things, just to hit on before we move forward, is like when I got into entrepreneurship, a holiday was another work day. It was another day to study, to hone skills, to get better. And when you build the systems and you've been in business for a few years, now you have that freedom. But like you're getting at, no one is doing the work for you. In the beginning, when we were putting in the long hours, it was us and only us, and no one was going to come do the work or lead the way without paying a coach or something like that. But it was on us to put the action in.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was reflecting on that is, years ago, I was working on this day. My family was spending time together, but I was the one out there doing the work, and nobody else was going to do it. It was on me to take care of it, so I just did it. It was my responsibility. But yeah, after you put in that amount of work, there is going to be some time where you can take, in the future. It's kind of growing from that hustler mentality to then kind of being the CEO, business owner, founder, if you will, of recognizing it, being aware, and then using the time the way that we want to.
One of the other things to hit on too is delayed gratification. A lot of the time when I talk about delayed gratification, it's monetary. It's about money. It's, hey, save so you can spend later. But it works the same way when in your business and in your life is when you put that hard work in and don't take the days off in the beginning, you do have delayed gratification of now having that time freedom that we work so hard for.
Yeah, and I see the same thing with my fitness. All those days where I didn't want to show up at the gym, but I did it anyway. All the days where I was in the calorie deficit when I didn't want to, but I did it anyway. And it changed the physical aspect of who I am today. And now, every once in a while, I can have a little bit of a freedom. I can not be so dialed in and enjoy some of these fun foods and times and stuff like that, and not feel like I'm losing all of the progress that I've made.
And on the topic of nobody's coming for you, one of the quotes that I remember back from starting all of this is, nobody's coming for you, no one's going to save you, no one owes you anything. It's up to you to choose what direction you want to go in. Yes, there's going to be people along the way that see your vision and latch on to you, but that's up to you to take those steps to get to that point. And the other piece about it is nobody cares. Like, yes, we all have friends and family and people that see what we're doing. And at one of the stages, I was listening to people a month ago, someone was talking about a story of somebody was so worried about what somebody else was going to think about their actions or whatever they were doing. And they're like, hey, what are you so worried about? And their answer was, well, I'm so worried about what my teacher is going to think about this. And it's like, when you take a step back and ask yourself, what is your teacher thinking about right now? What's this person thinking about right now? It's probably not you. They probably don't care. It's not that big of an impact on them because most people care about themselves before other people. So I'm not trying to be like morbid or taboo and say nobody cares, because we care about people. We care about a ton of people, and we always will. But when you are starting to take action and fitness, family, business, like that beginning part and on your journey, nobody cares. It's up to you. Go do the work.
Yeah, I think kind of twofold with that messaging, because I used to work out with a shirt that says nobody cares, work harder.
Yep.
And go and do the work. And I think I think twofold, like I said, because I've shared plenty of times. You never know who's watching.
Yes.
And who's missing out because you're not showing up. And there is people out there that do need that that extra motivation to see somebody else do it, to see somebody achieve, win, accomplish, so they can believe in themselves that it's possible. They can see themselves in you, and they can go do it too. I think we also kind of get in our heads a little bit to think about, if I do this, well, somebody's going to think negatively about me, or I'm going to become a different person, and they're not going to want to support me, or something like that. And we worry too much about their opinions. Now, everybody has an opinion. I had a coach tell me this one time. And he said, everybody's got an opinion, just like,
a part of our body.
Yeah, and they all stink.
Yep.
And so I think about that, like, why do we get so wrapped up in what other people's opinions of our lives are if we have that clear vision? And if we have a mission that we're trying to accomplish and achieve, as long as that's not, interfering with the well-being and health of other people, then what does it matter what they think?
If your moral compass is on point, you have your core values, and you have a vision, go for it. Don't worry about the other people's opinions.
Yeah, because you could be on this path of positivity, of greatness, of trying to do good in the eyes of so many people, and there's going to be people that detract from it, that are going to, what do we say? The loudest voices are from the cheapest seats. The people that aren't doing the work, that aren't investing in themselves, that aren't investing in their community, that aren't showing up the way that you are showing up, there's going to be people that say things. And that's when we say, well, it doesn't matter. They're not going to do the work for themselves. They're not going to do the work for you. So why put any stock into what they say? I've said plenty of times, don't take advice from people you wouldn't switch seats with.
Yeah. And on the piece of listening to people or the critics out there, the more you do, the bigger you get, the more notice you have on you, the more critics there's going to be. When that happened to me for the first time in kind of the business, the speaking, whatever piece of it, and I got a critic, I was like, oh my gosh, did I offend them? Did I do something wrong? And it took me back because I wanted to almost change who I was or what I was talking about to please that person. But 95% of people see the mission, they see the vision, and they support it. You're always going to have haters the bigger you get. And a great example of this, love or hate, is Logan Paul. Like Logan and Jake Paul, but behind the scenes, and I've never talked to them, people say they're great humans, they're nice people, they take care of family, they give back, but the persona they made for the views and for all of the entertainment they got was this harsh, almost a villain.
Yeah, the heel.
Yes, but it got attention, so they went with it. But they also knew going into that they're going to have critics. Like, they're going against the grain. And the majority of the stuff we do in business and fitness and treating our families how we do is almost against the grain. When half of America is overweight or almost obese, like, we're going against the grain in the fitness space. When the majority of America is working a W-2 job, which we fully support corporate life, but we're going against the grain in business ownership. Like, we will have critics.
Yeah. And I think about that whole thing, and I think about in our business too, that first 1-star review that you get. You can take care of so many customers and have so many people happy with your service, and then you get this 1-star review, and then you're focused on that. Like, oh, how can we implement a new system, or how do we change our processes, or how do we do this and that? To be focused on this one person that who knows what was going on in their life and what happened, and maybe you dropped the ball, but did you take care of it the right way? Most of the time, small business owners, if they screw something up, they're willing to do whatever they can to make it right, unless this person's completely whack job or something like that, and you're never going to be able to please them because there's those people out there. There's what does Alfred say? There's those people that like to watch the world burn.
Yep.
From Batman. So I'm thinking about the same thing. Like you get that pushback in your business from time to time. But if you know what that vision is and what your mission is to accomplish, you can't let that detract you from what you're doing.
You can't let that kind of change you or change the direction because that one-star review you got, how many clients have you taken care of over that period? Was it 50? Was it 100? Was it 1,000 people before you got a 1-star review? And the unfortunate piece, like Dane was saying, is the loudest person is normally in the back. Normally happens with reviews as well, because we don't always get 5-star reviews with every great client we have. Like, it's normally few and far between versus the 1-star reviews that are like, terrible service, don't recommend. But that could be a fraction of a percent. So don't change your focus. Don't change everything you're doing for that one instance.
Yeah. Now, if you're constantly getting 1-star reviews, then maybe it's time to look at the process or the procedure or the product or the service, and maybe you need to do, like, if there's a pattern there, maybe you need to fix something there.
If you are getting majority 1-star reviews, please reach out to Dane or I.
Yeah, we would be certainly happy to help you see the blind spots, because sometimes that's what we need. We need somebody in our life that will tell us the truth or see things that maybe we aren't seeing because, maybe we're just too close into it. What do they say? You're in the forest, you're in the trees, can't see through the forest.
Yep.
Yeah, and that happens. I mean, especially as an entrepreneur or solo entrepreneur, where we're so focused on so much, taking a 30,000-foot view to see what's going on in our lives and our business. And then when you do that, you really realize that no one's coming to save you.
Yes. The early nights, or late nights, early mornings, there's just so many things as an entrepreneur. Same with going to the gym early mornings, late nights, the nutrition, the getting your steps in, the getting your gallon of water in. All of those things are things that better us. They're things that nobody sees. They're things we don't get credit for. But it's stuff that no one else is going to put the work in. It is truly up to us. If something in your business is wrong or had an employee leave, whatever happens in the business, like, it is up to you. It all comes back to extreme ownership of it. It is our responsibility.
Yeah, and that was an early episode that we did, was on extreme ownership, and when I was writing this thought down, I forget, I was probably just riding in my truck, and I was like, hey, this would be a good podcast topic to talk about. And I was like, well, we already did, extreme ownership, but the more of the story that I was thinking about is just, I was driving to the lake to go walk some steps. I'd went and worked out early in the morning, got done. I knew that everybody was still sleeping at my house, and I was like, well, I could go home and just be alone for an hour. I was like, you know what, I'm going to go walk around the lake. And the lake was a place that I used to spend, I was there almost every single day when I was in the fat loss phase. And how many internal conversations I had walking around that place. I had sunlight on me, fresh air. Had good scenery, but then it was just me and my feet in the path, and I just kept going around every single day, pretty much, because it's like almost 3 miles, 2.5, 3 miles, something like that. And I got to have all these conversations with myself and think about the excuses that I used to make, and be proud of myself for not making those. And it was like, you know what? Like, nobody told me to be here. Nobody said that I had to do this. It was me choosing to do it because I saw a brighter future, and I wanted more out of my life. And I knew that this little thing that I could come do every single day was going to help me get to this point. And that's why we still do those things. You know, we built this passion for growth and for purpose and for legacy, and we have a vision, and nobody else is that vision wasn't given to anybody else. It was given to us for a reason, and it's on us to go do the work to get there.
What just a good takeaway from that whole story, I would say, is, and I tell people this often, and some people look at me weird, but you have to be comfortable being alone. And I'm not saying be a lone wolf, do everything by yourself, but whether it's a relationship with boyfriend, girlfriend, spouse, or business partners, or friends and family, is if you are not capable or able to be alone and think your own thoughts and talk to yourself and have those conversations, you probably don't have the vision of what you want your life to look like. And you should be able to have that time, whether it's walking or meditating, and just have a think tank or a dump tank to yourself of all of the thoughts that are going on. Get some clarity. And again, going back to when I started in entrepreneurship, it was just me, my thoughts, my journaling, all of that stuff. And just conversations with myself is what helped develop the vision, helped develop the path. And I still have time like that because we still have to course correct. If something's wrong, it's up to us. If we didn't start, it's up to us. So I would just say to everyone listening, are you comfortable being alone and having those conversations with yourself? Because that's one of the biggest starting points that you need to get to.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, we talk about nobody's coming to save you, but also with that is you're the greatest project you ever get to work on. And I don't think people think of their life like that. Like, you know, especially like me, I'm a parent and I have these kids and we have these kids and it's a built-in purpose and we think that we're raising them to, we are raising them to be better versions of ourselves. And then sometimes we forget about ourselves. We don't put that same energy and effort and thought into how we take care of ourselves. And I know this because I was guilty of this. I felt like I had to do way more for them than I had to take care of myself because they're more important than me. But during this personal development transformation, I realized that I am the greatest project that I ever get to work on. And the work that I do for myself is in turn going to help me be a better father and a better parent, a better husband, a better leader to everybody around me. And it doesn't matter how many times I screw up. I get a reset and I get to do it again. Yep. Whatever decision that I make, it's not going to condemn me forever because I get the chance to reset, recharge, and do it over again. Learn from it. That's a big thing because sometimes people make mistakes and then they continue to make the mistakes because they never learn from it. So we definitely have to learn from those mistakes. Then get back up and start doing the work again.
Yeah, you just have to be consistent with it. Plug Dane Patton right there. Stay consistent.
If only somebody reminded you that every single day of their life.
But I know we have a little bit more time, but to sum it up is people are there for you. You have your sphere of influence. You have your sphere of support. This is not meant to be us telling you nobody is here for you. Yeah. It's that people aren't going to put the work in that you aren't willing to put in. If people see you and they see you as a leader, they're going to follow. Whether it's a culture thing, something in your business, like there is so much good that comes out of a good leader, but most good leaders started from the beginning by themselves. And it's really a lot of people do care. You do have people that have your back. But if you want something bad enough, it is truly up to you. Like my family, my friends, they support everything I do. When I started all of it, they told me I was insane and I should stay an engineer. And you're going to get that. It's okay, but you have the clarity, you have the vision, you have the direction, and you will find your own tribe as you move forward. And it's been very cool to see from my instance, and I know Dane too, is from the beginning I always say that I was lone wolf. It was me, my laptop, my notebooks, and figuring stuff out. And as time has progressed, I've made an amazing group of friends, of people that are like-minded, that give advice, they give constructive feedback. They're not critics like tearing me down, but they're people that want to help build me up and take me to the next level. But without that time by myself in the beginning, none of that would be possible.
Yeah, and so that kind of reminds me, a few months back, I remember a conversation in one of the rooms that we were in, and then just last week when I was speaking in a different room, and I was thinking about those kinds of things, like the whole lone wolf and that mentality that we create when we're in the beginning of hustler mode, if you will,
Yep.
But then as you progress, and then you're attracted, and you attract other like-minded people to, and they're not doing the work for you, but you see that they're doing the work too. And that's what's exciting, because like I know I'm showing up, and I'm gonna keep doing the work for me. And a couple months ago, there was a lot of questions that were going around in our ecosystem and stuff like that. And I was listening to all these people, well, what about this, or what about this person, and this and that, and I just told the people, I was like, if you need to look to somebody, look to me, because I'm going to continue to do the work. I'm going to continue to show up, because guess what? I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for me. Like, I'm not going to let myself down anymore. And use that as a lighthouse for you. You can go and do the work for yourself. You don't. It doesn't require somebody else to show up. It requires you to show up for yourself. And if me doing it is going to help, because I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop, because I like to win. I like to enjoy the things that the vision that I have and that I can accomplish, like, is so exciting to me, because I know it's going to better so many people out there. It's not just for me. I mean, it is for me, but so many people are going to benefit from it. And that's what I was telling people last week too. It's like, somebody said, well, I have a person in my life that I'm close to, and I want them to do better. And I said, well, then start doing better for yourself. You start doing better for yourself. They're going to see that. They're not going to see somebody that keeps nagging them about who they are, but they're going to say, hey, that person's really focused in on what they're doing for themselves. Maybe I should do that for me too.
A good example of that, just on the family side of things, is like my wife and I, we don't drink much. We drink more when we own a sports bar. Don't recommend. But whenever one of us is like, hey, we should cut back, or we should be healthier, or cook more meals at home, or one of those statements that gets said often, is the other person is like, okay, I'll support you, but I have to be the one to initiate it, or she has to be the one, whoever decides. Because if that action doesn't get put in from the person who asks if we can drink less or eat healthier or work out more, I don't want to put the effort in if they're not putting the effort in. So, like, to your point, is become the lighthouse. If there's something that needs to change, life, family, fitness, finance, any of those things, start being the change for you and your surrounding family or business or people around you.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to end this episode, Chase. We talked about ownership. We talked about nobody's coming to save you. We've talked about doing the work for so many episodes, but it's because it's needed and it's required to get to what you want.
We always talk about putting the work in because you have to stay consistent.
Yes, that's right. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Another episode of the Consistency Engine podcast. If you got value out of this, please like, comment, share, leave us a 5-star review. Hopefully it's 5 stars.
And we did start a Facebook page as well. So if you're not on there, please find us on there and give us a follow.
That's right. I'll probably be posting lots of good, helpful, motivational, inspirational reflection posts in there. We'll share our podcast episodes in there, and then whatever other fun stuff that we have going on. So thanks for joining us, and see you next time.